All right, everybody. Today, we are talking air fryers.
Hmm.
They're everywhere you look these days, right? It seems like everyone's trying to get their hands on one of these things. And honestly, I get it. That crispy, golden brown, like fried food goodness,
Mm.
but without the extra oil and calories. Sounds like a dream come true. But are air fryers really all they're cracked up to be? Well, that's what we're diving deep into today. We'll break down how they actually work, the pros, the cons, and of course, that big question everyone has, are they really a healthier way to cook? By the end of this deep dive, you'll have all the info you need to decide if an air fryer deserves a spot in your kitchen.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how air fryers kind of went from, 0 to 60. Like 1 minute nobody's heard of them, the next minute they're a must-have appliance. And it's not all just hype either, although there's definitely been a lot of that too. There are some really solid reasons why they've become so popular so quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't love that satisfying crunch of like perfectly fried food, but then comes the guilt trip, right? All that oil, the extra calories, and don't even get me started on the mess.
Ah.
Air fryers seem like the perfect solution, but how do they even work? I mean, it almost sounds too good to be true.
You know what? It's actually a lot simpler than you might think. Imagine like a miniature convection oven that's specifically designed to make food crispy. So instead of deep frying in oil, air fryers just circulate super hot air all around the food at really high speeds. And that's what creates that crispy outer layer that we all love about fried food, but without needing to use nearly as much oil.
Okay, that makes sense, but is the final result really comparable to actual deep frying? And what about all the health claims we keep hearing about? Are those legit or mostly just clever marketing?
Those are great questions. And those are exactly the things we're going to unpack as we take a closer look at both the advantages and the potential downsides of air fryers.
Perfect. So that initial buzz totally makes sense when you think about the convenience factor and like the possibility of healthier cooking.
Hmm.
But let's get into the nitty-gritty a bit more here. What is it that people are saying they love so much about their air fryers? What's got everyone so excited?
Okay, so let's dive into the good stuff. The reasons why people are totally geeking out over their air fryers.
Yeah, for sure. One of the biggest things is just how fast and efficient they are. We're talking way faster cooking times compared to like a regular oven.
Mm.
Sometimes you can cut your cooking time in half, especially for things like, chicken or French fries.
Wow, cutting cooking time in half. That's seriously impressive. No wonder people are loving them who doesn't want to spend less time cooking.
Right. And think about the cleanup too.
Hmm.
Because you're not using a ton of oil, there's hardly any mess to deal with afterwards. No more soaking greasy pans or scrubbing splattered oil. It's kind of amazing. Okay, that is a huge GE bonus in my book. Less cleaning is always a good thing. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room.
Hmm.
The health claims. Everyone's saying air fryers are so much healthier, but is that really true? Or is it just clever marketing?
I'd say it's a bit of both. I mean, there's a reason people are calling it a health halo. Using less oil automatically means you're consuming fewer calories and less fat, which is definitely a good thing for your health overall. But there are definitely some nuances to keep in mind.
Nuances, huh? Okay, now you've got me curious. Like what?
Well, let's talk about texture for a second. Air fryers are great at crisping things up, but they do have some limitations. And it mostly comes down to the moisture content of the food and whether it has batter on it or not.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, like think about those frozen cauliflower wings that everyone loves. The ones that are coated in that thick, crispy batter.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get that same super satisfying crunch in an air fryer as you would if you deep fried them.
Okay, so managing expectations is important then. It's not like an air fryer can magically replicate the exact experience of deep frying for every single food.
Exactly. It's all about choosing the right tool for the job.
So are there any other foods that don't really crisp up well in an air fryer?
Another thing to watch out for is thicker cuts of meat, especially those with a higher fat content. Since the hot air circulates all around, it doesn't always render the fat as effectively as, say, roasting wood in the oven, which can definitely affect the final texture.
So it's a bit of a learning curve then, like figuring out what works well in an air fryer and what's better off cooked a different way.
Absolutely. Even if you're a total pro in the kitchen, you're still going to have to play around with it a bit, experiment with different timings and temperatures to figure out what works best for different recipes.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've covered the speed, the potential health benefits, and a few of the things to watch out for when it comes to texture. But what about the actual variety of foods you can make in these things? Is it really more than just like French fries and chicken nuggets? Because I'll be honest, I made a batch of chocolate chip cookies in mine the other day, and they were amazing. Speaking of those cookies, it's kind of crazy what you can make in an air fryer these days.
Right.
It's not just about like recreating fried food, is it?
No, not at all. And that's another big plus for air fryers. You can get really creative with them. They're surprisingly versatile.
Okay, so like what else can you make besides cookies?
Oh man, roasted vegetables, baked muffins, grilled chicken, even fish. It's like having a miniature oven, but better.
A mini oven with superpowers.
Okay.
I like the sound of that. So it really seems like an air fryer could be a total game changer for anyone who's like always on the go, but wants to eat healthier and doesn't want to sacrifice flavor or texture. But before we wrap things up, let's circle back to the whole health thing one last time. We talked about how using less oil is obviously a good thing and how air fryers can cook food faster. But is there anything else we should keep in mind from a health perspective?
Yeah, there are a couple more things to think about. One is nutrient retention. Since air fryers cook your food quicker and at lower temperatures, they can actually help keep more of those good vitamins and nutrients from getting lost in the cooking process, which is something that can happen with other cooking methods.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Which vitamins are we talking about here?
Vitamin C and E, mainly.
So not only are you, like, eating less of the bad stuff, but you're also holding on to more of the good stuff. That's awesome.
Exactly. Although it's important to remember that this applies mostly to whole, unprocessed foods. Like, you're not going to get the same benefits from air frying a bunch of processed snacks.
Right. It always comes back to making smart choices about what you're actually putting into your body, no matter how you're cooking it. An air fryer is not a magic wand that transforms unhealthy food into a health food.
Exactly. It's just a tool. A really cool tool, but still just a tool.
A tool that makes delicious chocolate chip cookies.
This is true.
Okay, so if someone's listening to this and trying to decide if an air fryer is right for them, what's the most important thing for them to consider?
Honestly, I think it all comes down to thinking about your own needs and habits. Like, are you someone who's super busy and needs to get dinner on the table quickly? Do you want to eat healthier without having to give up your favorite crispy, crunchy foods? And let's be real, do you even have space in your kitchen for another appliance?
It's all about being honest with yourself and figuring out if an air fryer fits into your lifestyle.
Exactly. And hey, even if you decide it's not right for you right now, just thinking about the way you cook and how it impacts your health is a great first step.
Totally. Well said. Well, there you have it, everyone. We've explored the ins and outs of air fryers, what's great about them, what's not so great, and everything in between. Hopefully, this deep dive has given you all the information you need to decide if an air fryer deserves a spot in your kitchen. Until next time, happy cooking, everyone.